Good evening, everyone. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to today's international webinar organized by Modak Punar Academy. I am Prithali Modak, your host for this session, and I extend my heartfelt greetings to all our distinguished guests, researchers, students, and participants who have joined us from different parts of India and across the globe. Today's webinar is on the highly relevant and insightful topic NIRF Demystified Ranking Frameworks, Parameters, and Evaluation Metrics. The National Institutional Ranking Frameworks has become the benchmark for assessing the quality and performance of higher educational institutions in India. Understanding its framework, evaluation parameters, and ranking methodology is essential for educators, administrators, researchers, and policymakers striving for academic excellence. To guide us through this important subject, we are privileged to have with us our esteemed speaker, Dr. Ankita Pramanik. Dr. Pramanik is an associate professor in the Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering and associate dean, Students' Welfare at the Indian Institute of Engineering, Science and Technology, Shibpur. She earned her BE honors from Jadavpur University, her MA from Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru, and her PhD from IIEST, Shibpur. Before joining academia, she served as a scientist at the Central Research Laboratory of Bharat Electronics Limited, Bengaluru. With over 15 years of professional experience in research and teaching, Dr. Pramanik has made remarkable contribution to the higher evolution and technological research. She is currently serving as an expert advisor and mentor for NIRF ranking for professional technical institutions under the Directorate of Technical Education, Government of West Bengal. Her research interests include artificial intelligence, medical image processing, neural networks, Internet of Things, wireless communication, and sensor signal processing. Dr. Pramanik is the recipient of several prestigious recognition, including the IEEE Kolkata Best Volunteer Award 2023, the IBM Global University Program Academic Award 2022, and the BEL Research Development Excellence Award 2011. She has edited 2 books published by Pearson Education, authored numerous books, chapters, published more than 60 research papers in reputed journals and conferences, and holds 3 patents and 4 copyrights. We are truly honored to have such an accomplished academician and researcher with us today. On behalf of Modak Academy, I extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Ankita Pramanik and sincerely thank her for graciously accepting our invitation to share her knowledge and expertise. Without further delay, I invite our esteemed speaker, Dr. Ankita Pramanik, to deliver today's lecture. Ma'am, the virtual platform is now yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Prithali, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you, Dr. Gargi De and Mr. Modak for inviting me to deliver this lecture over here. সবাইকে নমস্কার জানিয়ে আমি আজকের প্রেজেন্টেশনটা স্টার্ট করছি। The topic or the title of my today's talk is NIRF Demystified, Ranking Framework, Parameters and Evaluation Metrics. প্রথমে আমি এখানটায় বিভিন্ন NIRF কি, বিভিন্ন ক্যাটাগরি কি NIRF এর এবং প্রত্যেকটা ক্যাটাগরিতে কিভাবে নাম্বার এবং ইভ্যালুয়েশন করা হয় সেইগুলো ডিসকাস করব। NIRF or National Institutional Ranking Framework এইটা MHRD দ্বারা 2015 থেকে শুরু হয়েছে। এই NIRF ফ্রেমওয়ার্ক দ্বারা প্রত্যেকটা হায়ার এডুকেশনাল ইনস্টিটিউটকে র্যাঙ্ক কিংবা গ্রেড দেওয়া হয়। প্রত্যেকটা নয়, যারা পার্টিসিপেট করবেন এবং সেই অনুযায়ী একটা রেজাল্ট বেরোয়। অগস্ট সেপ্টেম্বর মাস এই টাইমেই NIRF র্যাঙ্কিংটা বেরোয় সাধারণত। তো সেই জন্য অগস্ট মাসে আমরা আজকের NIRF নিয়ে চর্চা করব। এই যে NIRF র্যাঙ্কিং,
এক্সকিউজ মি ম্যাম,
হ্যাঁ,
yes ma'am, is it possible to make it in English?
Yeah, sure. I'll be very happy.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So NIRF consists of several broad parameters. Mainly there are 5 classes: teaching, learning and resources, research and professional practices, graduation outcomes, outreach and inclusivity, and perception. So based on the category of ranking we are talking about, category of ranking can be overall, engineering, architecture, or colleges. The weightage in each category varies. Mainly, it is a common practice that perception category carries 10% weightage. Now, what are these categories? What are the different subcategories for different ranking phenomenon or the category? We will be looking into through this PPT. So the important features are that in NIRF, we have to upload data, and to consider or to obtain the NIRF ranking, the data for consecutive 3 years are considered. So if an institute thinks that this year I have got a very high research output, but the institute has suffered for the past 2 years, then a drastic improvement in rank may not be visible. And moreover, if even if my score absolutely improves, my ranking is relative. So it will depend on how my peer institutes are faring. So here, the ranking framework, as we know that it was started, and the ranking till 2025 has been released. And for applications, it was 3,500 in 2016. In 2025, we have 14163 applications. But the number of participating institutes are 7,692. So 7,600, almost 7,700 institutes, but applications 14,000. It is because the institutes can and are participating in multiple categories. For example, IIEST Shibpur participates in overall engineering, architecture, etc. Our other Jadavpur University, it participates in overall engineering, even the state university category. So multiple categories, each institutes are participating. And almost every year, new categories are introduced, like innovations, state funded university, sustainability, etc. So the various ranking categories or that was given out in 2025 are overall, universities, colleges, research institutions, engineering, management, pharmacy, medical, dental, law, architecture and planning, agriculture and allied sectors, innovation, open universities, skill universities, state public university, and sustainable development goals. So again, the categories and the subcategories and the questions for each category will be varying, may vary year to year. For example, the questionnaires for sustainable development goals, the last subcategory that has been shown in this slide, has drastically changed from last year's questions. So this year also, the last date for filling the SDG category was a way beyond or at a later date compared to the other categories. Now, the various ranks and rank band given. So in overall category, this is the one that every institute strives to participate. The total number of ranks are given are from 1 to 100. So if your institute comes within this 1 to 100 category, it will get an individual rank. And from 101 to 150, there's a rank band. Means if an institute is featuring, say, X, Y, Z, 3 institutes are featuring in the 101 to 150 rank band, it's not that they will all be in the same rank band. It's not that X will have a rank of 121, Y will have a rank of 146, not like that. And then another rank band 151 to 200 are given. University category again 1 to 100 and 101 to 150. So the maximum number of ranks and rank bands are given in 2 categories, college and engineering. When it comes to college, multiple institutions like the normal degree college or even the engineering colleges, pharmacy colleges, etc. can participate under that category. The research institutions is a very niche ranking category, and only 50 ranks are given out. Data need not be filled separately. The NIRF ranking framework, they have their own methodology. Now, one more thing, the Open University and Skill University, they just give 3 ranks and no rank band. Now, the metrics for based on which the ranking are done, it has been developed or by a core committee, and as we have seen, they are organized into 5 different broad heads. Now, let us see. For the overall ranking category, the institutes are eligible if they have at least 1,000 student intake. So this intake can be across UG, PG. When I say PG, for overall ranking category, PG will include not just the master's level, but also PhD level. But PhD students or the data for PhD students are not mandatory for some other ranking category like college or architecture. So the variety of data or the requirements of data varies from the ranking methodology or the category we are looking into. And so for overall ranking, not just 1,000 students, other categories like they must have 3 batches of full-time students who have graduated. Discipline specific ranking may, like if a college is under a university, the college can also specifically appear for the discipline specific ranking also. Now, how this goes on? Firstly, the institute has to register in the NIRF portal. So every year this registration starts after, say, in the month of October, November, like that. So by December, most of the institutes need to be registered. So there are 2 categories of registration: institutes registering for the first time, and institutes who have already registered, they need to register again for that particular year and choose the categories under which they want to participate. So after the registration is done, few days or few weeks after that, the user ID and password will be sent to those institutions via email. After this email, the institution, once the ranking or the data capturing system, that portal is open, the institutes can start uploading and submitting the data. So after the submission of the data, all the institutes are required to keep those data in the homepage of the institute for 3 years. And also an email address should be given where the feedback about the data may be given by anyone. So NIRF usually does not, all these years it does not use to check, physically check the data. But yes, over the years, when there is certain queries or clarification regarding the data, NIRF sends the email to those institutions. So it is a good practice for those institutions to reply to those data promptly. Various data need to be submitted by the institutes. Apart from that, NIRF ranking committee also uses data by using third-party organizations, especially the data related to research like publication, patents, etc. So patent data, the institutes have to upload in a specified format. Apart from that, NIRF also conducts its own check. Now, NIRF does suggest a ranking score, a function, but it reserves the right to modify the function anytime. And one more thing that is very important, the institutes are barred from canvassing. So there are checks and metrics for corrections, and the institutes have a chance to give feedback on the data that has been done. And in the past, it has also been seen that if the values or whatever data the institute has submitted and there had been some error at the end of NIRF, they do have come out with revised ranking. So I was mentioning that there are 5 broad categories. So for the overall category, the ratio is the teaching learning resources. It carries a weightage of 30%. Research and professional practice, it carries a weightage of 30%. Graduation outcomes, that is what will happen once the students graduate, that is whether they are going for higher studies, jobs, etc. It has a weightage of 20%. Outreach and inclusivity, outreach means how much of student diversity, faculty diversity in terms of gender, financial background, states, social diversity, etc. comes into this category. And perception carries 10% of weightage, that is how other institutes view about the institute is what this perception is carrying in it. So perception is a mix of what the your employers feel about your students, your the academic institutes, others feel about students or your institute. You please remember, perception is not what someone in your no, in your neighborhood. What we see is that when we go out in a market or in a bus or public transport, people will say that, oh, that university, it is just known for its politics and student unrest. But if you look into the perception score of that particular university, you will see that they have got a pretty good score, much higher even when it comes to certain IITs also. So this teaching, what is this teaching learning resources, which is carrying 30% weightage in overall engineering, etc. categories. Teaching learning resources embodies within it student strength, faculty student ratio, faculty qualification and experience, how the financial resources are utilized per student, and if there are avenues for online education, and also there are a few other categories or few other parameters like the multiple entry exit system, which has been introduced as per NEP, courses in Indian knowledge system, whether certain courses are offered in regional languages, how the sustainable living practices like green campus, etc. are provided by the institutions. Apart from that, whether the institute is providing for lifts, ramps, etc. for differently abled persons also matters. Please remember that this MIRS, that is the 5% of this teaching learning resources category, is applicable only in the overall category. If we move on to engineering, architecture, etc., this questionnaire is not there. So that means the rest of the categories, the weightage is divided among rest of the categories in the other engineering or architecture, etc., or even colleges ranking. So what is the student strength? It is carrying 20% of the weightage of TLR. Student strength is it is determined by a function of the total number of students approved, considering all the UG and PG programs, the total number of students actually enrolled, and the total number of students enrolled in the doctoral program. So the institutes, they have to upload the data in a prescribed format. So this considers the student category for all the 3 years, 4 years, 5 years courses, etc. Now, faculty to student ratio is a very important parameter. It considers the ratio of the total number of students enrolled to the total number of faculty members in a regular position. Again, when it considers the regular position, it will consider if the faculty has taught in the 2 semesters for which this ranking is considered. Now, one more important thing about NIRF ranking is that it requires huge amount of data and a diversity of data. For example, it requires financial data. We did see that there is something called research utilization, financial research utilization. So when it comes to financial data, the considered time period is for the financial year, that is April to March of the next year. When it comes to the teaching learning data, the faculty data or the student data, it considers academic year, that is from July to June. When it comes to patent, it will consider the calendar year, January to December. So all this data, people need to be very, very conscious about the amount of data they are giving as input. So consider that this is for 2025 category. So if we consider 2025, the academic year was 23 to 24. So 26, it will be from 24-25, the academic year. So again, when it comes to faculty quality, the quality that is of the faculty members teaching, the PhD degree will matter for overall engineering, etc. For architecture, faculty members or staff members with PhD will not matter much. And also, the faculty members having only a bachelor's degree will not be counted. To get a good score in the FSR category, it is expected to have a ratio of 1:15. If the faculty student ratio is 1:50 or worse, the marks assigned is 0. Now the faculty quality. How is the faculty quality determined? If the total number of faculty members with 95%, with 95, if the 95% of faculty members in an institute hold or have a PhD degree, then maximum marks in the faculty quality is obtained. Now there is something called faculty experience. Faculty experience, again, it carries 10 marks and faculty quality carries 10 marks. For this faculty experience, the faculty members are divided into three categories: 0 to 8, 8 to 15, and beyond 15 years. So a good score will be obtained if the faculty members in the with the experience ratio are in the ratio of 3:3:4. Now, financial research utilization will will look into the actual expenditure on construction of new buildings separately, and also the annual average cost. The financial data needs to be uploaded by the institute based on the audited data. Now, the online education system, government has introduced various online systems like Swayam, MOOCs, etc. So, the adoption and the offering of these courses will matter in for the overall category, and it has a weightage of 10%. Now, this one having a weightage of 5% is available on this questionnaire, or this subcategory is available only in the overall category. So this will include whether the institute is offering multiple entry exit or not. So these data are collected in the form of MCQ. Like, is your institution implementing multiple entry exit system? Do you offer courses on Indian knowledge system, etc.? And sustainable living practices means how much of your campus is sustainable? Do you have garbage disposal in a green way? Is the food waste recycled, etc., etc.? Next is, which is very important, is research and professional practice. Under this research and professional practice, the subcategories are publication, quality of publication, IPR and patents, and projects and professional practices. This category, so we can see that there are 4 subcategories under RPP, or research and professional practice. But when we go to, say, architecture, we will have only the first 2 subcategories, or colleges, they will have only the first 2 subcategories: IPR and patents, or the projects and professional practice. This subcategory involves research funding, that is the projects in research under research category, consultancy category, and offering of executive or management development program by the institute. So these 2 subcategories are not present in many ranking categories. And also, if we look into this engineering ranking framework, the 4 subcategories that are given here, there has been little workout over there. So reserve for projects and professional practice, that is FPPP, that is the 4th subcategory. It will involve only research and consultancy earnings. The executive and MDP questionnaires are left out in the engineering and other subcategories which are asking questions on this FPPP subcategory. Publication is something where there will be marks for the quantity, quality, and also if there are retracted publications in the institute, name of the institute. The negative marking is what has been introduced for the first time in 2025. So if the institute has some retracted publications, then the institute will be getting some penalty over there. So the publications metric is determined from third-party sources. So the FRQ, we can see that there is something called FRQ. FRQ is something like it is determined per faculty. So now there is something the institute has to, have, if you want to get more marks, definitely you have to have more number or no more number of publications, more high quality of publication. And also here the faculty strength will matter. In previously, we have seen under the faculty student ratio category, having a larger number of faculty is beneficial for the institute. Now here, as it is per faculty, so you can well understand what will happen if you have a very large number of faculty. Nevertheless, the faculty student ratio is something like which carries more marks. So the institute has to rationalize it. Now, under the combined metric for the quality of publication, here the citation count for the past 3 years and also the citation of the journals. That is, if the journal is in the Q1, Q2, Q1 category, that is what is important. Q1 category means the total journals. We are well aware of the journals having an impact factor. But there is also another way of looking at the different journals. They are like based on the quartiles. So top 25 percentile or Q1 are what is considered by the NIRF as quality of publication. Now this publication data is collected by the NIRF. The institutes do not have to upload the publication data of its faculty, students, etc. Here also a penalty has been introduced in 2025 based on the total retracted citations count. Now the IPR. IPR will involve your patent data. Patent data is collected in a specified format. The format of submitting data in 2026 for that is a rank that is going to be published soon is little different from the format that was supplied by the NIRF ranking framework portal in the past years. So what does the data format people ask over there? You have to give the date of filing, date of publication of the patent, where it was filed, the number, etc., etc. So the marks, 2 marks are given. One means the marks for the patent data is given under 2 categories. One for the number of patents published, and second for the number of patents granted. So if your institute has published a patent but could not get the grant, you will still get marks for filing a patent. The data is taken from third-party sources, it is true, but the institute also has to upload the data in a specified Excel format supplied by the NIRF portal. Now the next under the research category is the footprints of how we are faring. That is the total number of research projects, the total annual earning under the research project. So if a faculty member gets a grant of 2 crore project, but an actual amount of 1 lakh or 5 lakh actually comes to the institute, you have to consider only that 5 lakh and not the crore value. Or you might have got a project grant last year and a chunk of money of that project is entering in your institute's financial head this year, you will consider that amount also. So the research, the total funding is again the NIRF portal considers for 3 years. So whenever I say 3 years, it has to be kept in mind is that for an institute which is participating for consecutive years, the data that they have entered in the last years, it is frozen and no way it can be modified. So if I have to participate for the ranking, say NIRF 2026, that is a rank that is going to come out in few weeks. So when we fill the data, it was only for the current data. The rest of the two data was already frozen for us. For a new institute that is participating for the first time, they will have the option and they will have to fill the data for the 3 years. Now the next is the consultancy project value. A consultancy project value is the total amount of money received by the different by the institute from the different funding authorities. It is to be noted that the format that is circulated by the NIRF for considering the research funding considers, or it asks for, the total amount of the project received, actual amount received, the total number of projects, and the various number of and the different funding institutions. Suppose Coal India is sponsoring projects of 5 faculty members. So if it will be 5 different projects from a single funding authority. So this count has to be carefully determined and filled, and the data needs to be filled. Another category is the earning from the executive development programs. So this with the actual earning will consider the total fees or the amount of money that you are earning minus the expenditure. So this data also the institute has to upload in a specified format. The earnings from EDP or MDP, this is considered only for ranking in the overall category. Next is the graduation outcome, which is a very important parameter, and it has a weightage of 20%. So an institute, if we are running, so what happens to our students after they graduate from this, from the institute, is what the graduation outcomes determines. So first is metric for university examination. So here it determines that the how much students are actually graduating in the first chance. So if we have enrollment of say 100 students, but only 95 graduate in the say 4-year duration, that data will be considered. So 100 again 100 is the sanctioned or approved intake. If the actual intake is below 100, or if the, so it will not consider the actual intake, it will consider from the value of sanctioned intake, and the data needs to be given by the institute in the prescribed format. Also, it considers the total number of PhD students in the convocation. So when they say PhD student, they will consider both part-time and full-time PhD students. And this one having a 10% weightage is outreach and inclusivity. So it will have it will consider regional diversity. When it comes to regional diversity, it is not just the diversity within India, but also how much percentage of students from other countries are present in the institute. So women diversity, economically and socially challenged, physically challenged, etc. So NIRF collects data for graduation, graduate outcome, etc., and even based on the diversity. Initially, the data was considered for male and female, but this year in 2026, they are collecting data for male, female, and transgender. So this percentage of students from other states or countries is a bit lopsided for say state universities or NITs. So this one is more the diversity, more the number. So this will be favoring, this category favors self-financed institutions, IITs, etc. NITs or state government institutions, they hardly score good marks over here. Women diversity. Women diversity is that it is expected that by the NIRF authorities that approximately the women, female students should be 50% and the faculty members should be 20%. All this data needs to be provided by the institute in the prescribed format. Now, economically and socially challenged students value they also consider. While considering, they will also consider how much amount of student fee reimbursement is given to those students. Ideally, to get the highest marks in this category, every student should get 100% tuition fee waiver. Facilities for physically challenged students. So it is again asked in, it is also in the form of say MCQ or some from where the institute has to give responses from drop down versions. Sometimes the NIRF will ask the institute to upload the photographs. Like the questions can be, do you have ramps, lifts, etc. for the physically challenged students? What are the bathroom facilities, etc. So 40%, 60%, 80% based on the coverage, the marks will be determined. If your institute is covered, 80% of the institute has lifts, ramps, washrooms, etc. and other facilities for the differently able students, you are expected to get full marks under this category. Now, peer perception is something which is a very, very important criteria. It considers or it is has 10% weightage. And but how this perception is determined or how the marks under this category is given is something still of mystery to many, many institutions. Probably larger institutions like IIT Madras, which has been consistently topping the NIRF chart, may have cracked the code, but smaller institutes like us, we have not been able to crack the code completely. So this one is done by conducting a large-scale survey of employers, professionals from reputed organizations and academicians, and based on their preferences, like if they would like to recruit our students as an employee or under or as a graduate student under them, etc. Based on this response, the perception value is determined. The universities for the universities, state public universities, the perception has 70% weightage and accreditation has 30%. Accreditation means they will ask whether you have NBA, NAC, etc. So this is very important, and somehow so the increasing the employability of your student or creating a good name for your institute in the research fraternity is probably going to help your institution get more marks under the perception category. So everything is done by survey and by third party survey. The institute does not have any option of uploading data under the perception category. So this is what 30%, 30%, 20%, 10%, 10%, 5 subcategories, and this is the weightage distribution. So next, let us look into the engineering ranking methodology. The parameters or the 5 broad categories are same: teaching, learning and resources, research and professional practice, graduation outcomes, outreach and inclusivity, and perception. And also the weightage of these categories it remains the same as the overall category. So student strength, FSR, FQU, that is a faculty, quality and experience, financial research utilization, etc., etc. So remember that if you make an expenditure for your laboratories, or if the architectures of the mechanical engineering departments, they have drawing rooms, those architectures have studios, workshops, etc. The amount of expenditure spent on maintaining for the civil or electrical works, etc., those are considered. And again, for considering or for purchase of software, hardware, etc., these data also come under financial resources and utilization. Moreover, the number of the amount of money spent on organizing seminar, conferences, workshops, etc., those are also considered under this financial resources and utilization category. So when we say graduation outcome, this is something very important. Graduation outcome having a weightage of 20% for determining the rank. It considers the placement in higher studies, university examination, that means how many students are passing in the first go, and the median salary is something which is very important, plus the number of PhD students awarded the degrees. So when it comes to placement in higher studies, it that means number of students getting job, number of students going for higher studies. So if a student had passed 5 years ago and he has got a job offer now, or got admission into an institution of higher learning, his data will not be considered. Only for the batch, that is for 2025, it was for the academic year 23-24, right? So it was like only for the current batch, academic batch, this data will be considered. So this data is again for the UG and PG, both the batches. Now there's something called the median salary. Median salary is also for separately, they will ask data separately for UG and PG graduates. So median salary is not the mean or the average salary, but the median. Few institutions have shown to make mistakes in this category in while giving data for this. So this is something which needs to be carefully given. Now, again, the way of calculating, or the institute, the NIRF never asked had never asked, at least for our institution, for the data. But this year, NIRF is asking all the institutions to upload the data for the salary, and that is the placement data. So all the institutions, after the submission, after the portal was closed, all the institutions got a mail in a prescribed format where they had to upload the data for the placement. And placement means the total number of companies offering jobs to the students, the names of the companies, their contact number, the salary value offered to the students, etc. So we have to be, so only one thing that is consistent about NIRF is that all the institutes should be responsible and should be having all the data as backup. Because even after the submission of the data, NIRF conducts checks, random checks, and asks for clarification. So if there is a mismatch, the institute will be asked for clarification. If the institute successfully satisfies the queries, it will be automatically closed. Now, the same things as in the overall category for outreach and inclusivity. And again, it is the same thing in engineering for perception. Now for management. Management also has the same weightage as the previous two categories of ranking. So, same thing is here. In management, since it's a management, so in engineering, when it came for research and professional practice, the EDP and MDP, that is the earnings from executive development or management development program, was not considered. But for management criteria, it is being considered. So again, the certain things are there, but the PhD data is not important over here. Same questions for outreach and inclusivity. Perception is again a black box over here. For pharmacy. Pharmacy also the weightage remains the same. Same questions. Even the same questions for PhD students also. In management, PhD student data was not that important. So we keep on going. The EDP, MDP programs are not considered for pharmacy. Rest remains same for the engineering format. Next will be for colleges. colleges is something like it has mostly the colleges in Delhi. They have consistently topped the chart in the NIRF rankings, but the colleges in West Bengal have also shown promising results in the NIRF chart scoreboard. The weightage here is absolutely different from whatever weightage we had seen. It was, as you can see, 30, 30, 20, 10, 10. 30, 30, 20, 10, 10. Here it is 40, 15, 25, 10, 10. The last two subcategories are having the same weightage, but there is considerably lower weightage for research and professional practice and a very high weightage to teaching, learning and resources, TLR. For TLR, again, the quality and the experience matters. Faculty student ratio here, it is again different. For other categories we have seen it was expected to have 1:15, but here 1:20 will have good marks. And if it was worse than 50, the score was 0. But under the college category, if it is worse than 70, the score becomes 0. The PhD numbers are not important here, which is quite rational also, because colleges somehow do not have the liberty to take in or enroll PhD students. Usually for most of the places, PhD students register in the parent university. Here, the metric for publication, yes, it is there, but the patent data, etc., are not considered here. Patent data and the project's data. So only your publication, that is the total number of publication. Publication may include journal paper, conference paper, etc. But remember, Scopus index journals are considered. So if you have a paper, or if someone has a paper in a conference which came out in the form of a printed hard copy book format with no ISBN, or if the data is not uploaded in the Scopus, your contribution will not be considered by NIRF. So where you are publishing and how you are publishing, like whether you are publishing in the Q1 journal, that will help your institution get more marks under the quality of publication. It is to be noted that the publications are considered based on the affiliation of the institute. So it is not that, they do not do it based on the faculty member, but on the affiliation. So if your student publishes a paper with the institute affiliation without giving your name, that will also be considered under the quality or the quantity of publication for every ranking category. Now again, the graduation outcome, that is the placement in higher studies data, that is the total number of students placed, that is who actually got the job based on the sanctioned intake. So how many graduated in the required minimum time? So that is also important, and also median salary. The marks for the diversity also remains the same. And again, perception is again occupying a 10% weightage. So 40, 25, 15, 10, 10. Initially, for the other categories, it was 30, 30, 20, 10, 10. Now, architecture and planning. Architecture and planning, the weightage is 40, 20, 20, 10, 10. So, which is little different. Here, the your PhD data, or percentage for faculty quality, the faculty members having PhD matters. But for the student, enrolled student, enrolled number of PhD students are not considered. Architecture also prescribes that if you have the faculty student ratio to be 1:15, you will get a good score, and 1:50, you will be getting 0. So colleges, we had the liberty to go till 70. Now, publication, quantity, quality, and the projects, that is considered. Patents are not considered over here. EDP, that is the Executive Development Program, Management Development Program, etc., are not considered over here. Also, please remember, the weightage for under this category is little lower as compared to overall or engineering or pharmacy, etc. categories. Graduation outcome, again, this is remains the same, where the total number of students qualifying in the first co is important, where the students are placed, or how many number of students going for a job or going for higher studies is important, and the median salary is also important here. Outreach and inclusivity, the questionnaires are same for every category, and perception is again 10%, and it is again done through third party survey. So law also, the weightage is little different compared to the previous categories, same as almost same as the colleges. Then there is a category of innovation. Innovation is how much your institute is participating for, like, supporting your incubation, whether you have the institute innovation council, how many startups, how much of financial support, how many startups have graduated, the turnover, etc is important over here. The way this innovation is considered is way different from all the previous categories that we have discussed. Innovation will include financial support for innovation, innovation achievement, the publication, the patents, etc. How many companies are there for incubation, adoption of the innovation, and other policies time to time given by the government. Perception, again, perception here carries 10% weightage. So this financial support is that how many startups are recognized, how many VCs are there, how much of government seed funding is there, etc. These things, and then the turnover, how many alumni are founders of Forbes or Fortune 500 firms. So what is the technology readiness level, etc. will count under this innovation achievements. Under the research and innovation output, the quality and publications in SCI will be considered. The IPR and the patents commercialized will be very important over here. Now, for pre-incubation and incubation, the workshops, the expenditures, the FDPs, the credit courses, that is the subjects offered by the institutes, are also counted over here. So this Kapila, if your institute is having IIC, or it has registered in the NISP, or participating in the Smart India Hackathon or the Kapila portal, etc., will carry marks. Perception is again something done through third party sources. Agriculture and allied sectors, it is similar to the overall category, the marks division, that is 30, 30, 20, 10, 10. And again, we are back to our known framework, like innovation and SDGs are something which is little different from whatever we have seen. So research institution is again different. Medical is similar. Almost we have discussed all these. Then dental, similar. So with this, I end my presentation on the NIRF framework. And when a rank comes in the paper, which will be coming very soon, we are now, I think, in a better position to understand how the ranks are given. And it should not be like, oh my God, the students are participating in the streets, then how is it getting a good rank? It is not just the students participating, it is the hard work of the students, the faculty members, the alumni, which all contribute, and also the admin staff, like how they are helping you with spending the money, bringing in the other systems like digitization of records, etc. Everyone has to contribute if we want our institutes to have a good rank in the NIRF. So with this, I end my presentation. Thank you.